It started in a suburban neighborhood with a nostalgic ambience reminiscent of the 1950s futuristic concept. I don't remember how I got into this dream, but I have faint memories of being abducted, which I assumed occurred in that night's dream. While I was sitting on the couch, a robotic valet prepared a cup of coffee for me. "Good morning, neighbor," it cheerfully called out. I can hear someone knocking on the door. Reluctantly, I rise and open the door, only to find that it's not my neighbor. The man who claimed to be my neighbor is overweight and balding, with just 8 huge teeth that don't fit in his mouth. His lips can't close due to his teeth's massive size, and his eyes bulge out from his sweaty face. His lips can't close due to his teeth's massive size, and his eyes bulge out from his sweaty face. He's a dead ringer for Dr. Man. "It's a nice morning, isn't it?" The man spoke with a salesman's voice. "Do you want to consider? I'm not interested in buying anything." I slammed the door, but I noticed his foot was still in the way. I opened the door and was surprised to see the neighbor acting like our last meeting never happened. "Good morning. Want to join our community?" Irritated, I asked him to leave and slammed the door, making sure he didn't prop it open. "I've lived here for years." I was confused. Returning to the couch, I heard a voice say outside, "You must join our group." Returning to the couch, I heard a voice say outside, "You must join our group." "They can't wait to meet you," he added. Suddenly, a hand broke through the window and opened the door. A man stood there, smiling. He sprinted fast across the room. He held my wrist tightly, and being American, I tried to hit him hard. My punch hit his cheek with a loud crack, and I saw his head turn towards the wall. My hit lands on his cheek with a loud sound, and his head turns towards the wall. I hit his cheek again, but he doesn't react. "Come to our picnic in your honor, neighbor. Everyone is thrilled to meet you." He remained happy but kept holding on to me as he led me to his distinctive, 10-foot gray car parked outside. He let go of me to open the car door. He didn't turn around, and his head stayed in the same position with a twisted grin. I was scared and hurting as I ran away, my feet and head throbbing. I was scared and hurting as I ran away, my feet and head throbbing. He didn't move. I escaped when I had a chance. I thought about the chance of existing in a society that's gone wrong. I heard a soft rumble, so I paused to recognize the sound. It wasn't a car, it had more likeness to an animal. Abruptly, a car crashed through the shrubs, although it had disturbing appendages instead of wheels. Other than that, the car appeared standard. But the car didn't stop. It missed me, then charged forward, reversed, and made a U-turn to charge again. I couldn't outrun it, and eventually, it knocked me over its windshield and hood. I fell hard and felt like all my bones were broken. My neighbor came up to me quietly while I was distracted, and I didn't even see him get out of his car. He now had his head tilted oddly, but what he said made things worse. "We should go to the lake this weekend. I heard the fish are biting." I was shot in both kneecaps with what appeared to be kidney stones by his hand that transformed into a gun-shaped object. I felt defenseless. I shouted at his emotionless face, "Why did you do it?" I shouted at his emotionless face, "Why did you do it?" I yelled again, "Why?" I shouted at his emotionless face, "Why did you do it?" He chuckled and replied, "You have a strange sense of humor." His weapon transformed into soft grips and lifted me up. He placed me in his car and then took the driver's seat himself. "They're eager to meet you," he stated as we drove to the community gathering together. I have this dream every night. When it begins, I'm running from something through a dense thicket of bamboo. The cold air whips mercilessly against my body. Nothing is following me. At first, I don't see anything. The forest is as quiet and silent as death, and I can only hear my footsteps on the ground. There are no animals here. Not even insects crawling underfoot. The sky above me is a strange color, somewhere between an otherworldly purple and a light pink haze. There are no clouds, no birds. The sun is nowhere to be seen. All that surrounds me is bamboo. These huge reeds tower above most of the trees. They glow an unhealthy green light in this pink haze, and the mere sight of them makes me sick. Though I'm too busy to stop and pay attention to them, I always notice their movement, even when there's no wind. I tear the stalks without a second thought, my body working on its own. All I want to do is run. After walking what I realize is halfway in the dream, I begin to hear something around me. Whether it's bamboo or something moving through it, I never find out. All I know is that the noise makes me run as fast as I can. The sound gets louder the deeper I get into the otherworldly forest. Nothing else has changed, but this rumbling only intensifies my primal fear. I know something is coming. It's always coming, but I know there's nothing I can do about it. Soon I stop, though the forest stretches on endlessly. My muscles are paralyzed with fear, and a terrible tingling runs down my spine. There's something behind me, but I'm always afraid to turn around. I feel like it's watching me. At this moment, the rumbling grows closer and closer. Now it is the loudest. I'm helpless. I can't even run. Like a script, I am doomed to repeat the same actions instead of running. The effort it takes for me to turn around is monstrous, but when I do, I can't muster the courage to even scream. It's a huge panda bear skeleton, made entirely of bamboo and 3 times the size of me. The creature's limbs are freakishly long, and its huge arms end in long quivering stalks. But nothing frightened me more, nothing chilled me more, than the monster's malevolent eyes, huge, ghostly white eyes hovering in the endless openings of a green skull, tiny pupils staring straight into mine. Goosebumps run down my skin, and I involuntarily freeze, looking up at the monster towering over me, frozen in place with amazement and horror. All I hear is a grinding sound. That horrible, wet sound of raw, rotting bones rubbing against each other. At this point, I just want it to stop. I want that horrible, horrible sound to stop, and as Panda's fingers wrap around my body, I wake up, in a cold sweat, as usual. For a moment, I freeze under the covers, looking around my small room for reassurance. I know why I'm having this dream. Why I'm cursed to spend the rest of my nights running through this forest. I know it because of the skull that hangs on my wall, a souvenir from my grandfather, a reminder of our heritage. He claimed it was the skull of the last wild panda, extinct half a century ago.